Mr Speaker.
Eugenie Sage.
Tēnā koe, Mr Speaker. Thank you. Green Party is pleased to be supporting the Land Transfer Foreign Ownership of Land Register Amendment Bill because at the moment we don't have an accurate picture of how much land in New Zealand is owned by overseas persons, and without that understanding we can't develop good policy and we can't fully understand the assets that we are actually alienating. And until 1998, government agencies didn't even think it was necessary to record any of the purchases by overseas investors. The previous speaker claimed that the Overseas Investment Office scrutinises investment in land. That is only if it is sensitive land, which is quite a narrow category of land. It does include some rural farmland. But we don't have a good picture across the whole of New Zealand, so this bill is a useful small step to actually ensuring that there is a good information base by requiring overseas persons to provide information about their name, their nationality and the amount and value of the land that's being purchased and the land district it is in. But, Mr Speaker, it doesn't go far enough. The Green Party believes that land ownership in New Zealand should be limited to New Zealand citizens and permanent residents, and we would introduce legislation to restrict the purchase of our whenua, of our land, by non-citizens and non-residents. Because we have seen with the Overseas Investment Office almost universally, except in the case of Lochinvar, that the OIO has just rubber-stamped purchases of quite significant areas of productive land. And you cannot have an economic strategy of adding value to our primary products when New Zealanders are steadily losing ownership of our land, our forests and other productive assets in that value chain, because they are the building blocks of our economy. And when you've got more than 40% of overseas investment concentrated in agribusiness, energy and large-scale real estate, we are seeing ourselves alienated from ownership of those basic building blocks. We don't want our primary industries and our natural resources to be owned and dominated by overseas companies, because then we can't control the value chain when we don't own our own forests and farmland. And so National could smarten up, but it won't, and it could stop our most productive farmland slipping into overseas ownership, but it won't. So that's why, one of the reasons why the Green Party is supporting this bill, so we get a better understanding of just how much is being alienated. Because at the moment it's media speculation. Estimates of between 5 and 10% of our most productive farmland being sold to overseas persons, and if it was 5%, that's an area the size of the Auckland super city. So by a very simple change in the law, by restricting the sale of land that's more than half a hectare to New Zealand residents and New Zealand citizens, we could prevent that alienation. And that would ensure that our productive farmland stays in Kiwi hands, and as David Cunliffe noted, that the whenua is critical. If we want to be proud residents of Aotearoa, it is actually ensuring that our economic base and all of the industries that depend on that are generating revenue for New Zealanders, that we don't simply become tenants in our own country. That's one of the reasons the Green Party is supporting this bill.
Brett Hudson.
Thank you, Mr.